Lily was a cheerful girl who loved spending her time in the park near her house. She lived in a small town surrounded by green hills and colorful flowers. Every morning, Lily would take her red bicycle and ride to the park, where she spent hours exploring and playing. One sunny day, as Lily was riding her bike, she noticed a small, fluffy dog sitting near the park bench. The dog had white fur and big, round eyes. It looked lost and sad. Lily stopped her bike and walked over to the dog. "Hello, little one," Lily said gently. "Are you lost?" The dog wagged its tail but didn't move. Lily looked around, hoping to see someone searching for the dog, but the park was quiet. She decided to sit on the bench and wait to see if the dog's owner would come. While waiting, Lily opened her backpack and took out a small sandwich. She tore off a piece and offered it to the dog. The dog sniffed the food and quickly ate it. Lily laughed. "You must be hungry," she said. "Don't worry, I'll help you." After an hour, no one came to look for the dog. Lily decided to take it home. She gently picked up the dog and placed it in the basket of her bicycle. The dog sat quietly, looking at her with trusting eyes. When Lily arrived home, her mother was in the garden, watering the flowers. "Mom, look who I found at the park," Lily said excitedly. Her mother looked at the dog and smiled. "Oh, what a sweet little dog. Is it yours?" "No," Lily said, shaking her head. "It was alone at the park. I think it's lost." Her mother nodded. "Let's take care of it for now. Maybe the owner will put up a sign or come looking for it." Lily was thrilled. She gave the dog a bath, fed it, and even made a small bed for it in her room. She decided to name the dog Snowy because of its white fur. The next day, Lily and her mother went to the park and put up posters with a picture of Snowy. The poster read, "Found small white dog. Please call if it's yours." They also spoke to the park ranger and asked if anyone had reported a missing dog. For the next few days, Lily and Snowy became best friends. They played in the garden, went on walks, and even watched TV together. Snowy followed Lily everywhere, wagging its tail happily. Lily taught Snowy some tricks, like sitting, shaking hands, and even rolling over. Snowy was a quick learner, and every time it did a trick, Lily clapped and cheered. One afternoon, Lily and Snowy went back to the park. Lily brought a ball, and they played fetch for hours. Snowy would run as fast as it could, grab the ball, and bring it back to Lily. Other children in the park watched and smiled. "Your dog is so smart," one boy said. Lily felt proud even though she knew Snowy wasn't really her dog. One evening, the phone rang. Lily's mother answered it. After a short conversation, she turned to Lily. "Lily, I think we found Snowy's owner," her mother said. Lily's heart sank a little. She loved Snowy and didn't want to say goodbye, but she also knew it was the right thing to do. The next day, a kind-looking woman came to their house. She introduced herself as Mrs. Harper. When Snowy saw her, it barked happily and ran to her. "Oh, Snowy, I missed you so much," Mrs. Harper said, hugging the dog tightly. She turned to Lily and her mother. "Thank you for taking care of Snowy. I was so worried. She ran out of the yard when the gate was left open." Lily smiled, though she felt a little sad. "Snowy is a wonderful dog. I'm glad she's back with you." Mrs. Harper looked at Lily kindly. "You have such a big heart. If you ever want to visit Snowy, you're always welcome." From that day on, Lily visited Snowy often. She and Mrs. Harper became good friends, and they would take Snowy to the park together. Mrs. Harper even invited Lily to help train Snowy for small competitions. Snowy learned how to jump over small hurdles and run through tunnels. Lily loved being part of Snowy's training and cheered loudly during the competitions. One weekend, Mrs. Harper invited Lily and her mother to a picnic by the lake. Snowy ran around happily, chasing butterflies and splashing in the water. Mrs. Harper brought sandwiches, fruit, and a special treat for Snowy. As they sat on the picnic blanket, Mrs. Harper said, "Lily, Snowy is so happy whenever you're around. You've made a big difference in her life." Lily smiled. "She's made a big difference in mine, too." Every time Lily saw Snowy, the little dog wagged its tail and barked happily, as if to say, "Thank you for being my friend." And Lily knew that their bond was special, no matter where Snowy lived. Over time, Lily started volunteering at the local animal shelter. Inspired by her experience with Snowy, she wanted to help other animals find loving homes. She spent her weekends walking dogs, feeding cats, and helping with adoption events. Lily's mother was proud of her and often joined her at the shelter. One day, as Lily was helping at the shelter, she met a small, shy puppy with brown fur and big ears. The puppy reminded her of Snowy, but it was timid and nervous around people. Lily spent hours sitting quietly with the puppy, earning its trust. She named it Coco. When Coco finally wagged its tail and let Lily pet it, she felt a warm happiness in her heart. Lily knew she couldn't keep Coco, but she promised to find it a good home. And just like with Snowy, Lily knew that every act of kindness made the world a little brighter for both people and animals. One afternoon, while Lily was walking Coco in the park, she met a young boy named Max. Max had just moved to the town and was feeling lonely. He approached Lily and asked if he could pet Coco. Lily nodded, and soon the two began talking about their love for animals. Lily learned that Max's family couldn't have pets because of their small apartment, but Max had always wanted a dog. Seeing how gentle Max was with Coco, Lily had an idea. She spoke with the shelter and arranged for Max to volunteer there on weekends. Max was thrilled. Over time, he became one of the shelter's best volunteers, and he and Lily worked together to help many animals find homes. Months later, the shelter held a big adoption event. Max's parents surprised him by saying they were moving to a bigger house where they could finally have a dog. Max immediately thought of Coco. Lily watched with tears of joy as Max adopted Coco and promised to give her the best life. Lily realized that her journey with Snowy had not only brought her joy, but had also inspired a chain of kindness in her community. And as she rode her red bicycle home that evening, she felt grateful for the small dog that had started it all. A few weeks later, Lily had an idea to organize a community pet day in the park. With the help of Mrs. Harper, Max, and other volunteers from the shelter, they planned an event where people could bring their pets for fun activities. There were contests like Best Trick, Fastest Fetcher, and even a costume parade for the pets. Snowy, dressed as a superhero, won the prize for cutest costume. The event also included an adoption corner where the shelter brought dogs, cats, and even rabbits looking for homes. Many families attended the event, and by the end of the day, several animals had found new families. Lily felt proud as she saw the happy faces of both the animals and their new owners. During the event, an elderly woman approached Lily. She introduced herself as Mrs. Bennett and shared that she had recently lost her beloved dog and felt lonely. Lily introduced her to a gentle golden retriever named Daisy from the shelter. Mrs. Bennett and Daisy bonded immediately, and by the end of the day, Daisy had a new home. That evening, as Lily and her friends cleaned up after the event, Mrs. Harper said, "Lily, you've done something amazing today. You've brought the community together and made a real difference." Lily smiled. It wasn't just me. It was all of us working together. And seeing these animals happy makes everything worth it. As Lily lay in bed that night, she thought about how one small act of kindness, helping Snowy, had grown into something so much bigger. She knew that this was just the beginning of her journey to make the world a better place for animals and people alike. And with Snowy curled up beside her, Lily dreamed of all the adventures and acts of kindness yet to come.